Hello and welcome back. I'm Oskar Sherlief and you're watching the news from Kazakhstan. On Tuesday, the court continued to listen to the witness testimonies during the trial of policemen in Aktau. The defense objected to the witnesses identifying riot organizers as people.
They were throwing rocks and glass bottles. They wanted to use force, isn't it what they say? In this case, the word people is not applicable. There were specific individuals and curious onlookers. Yet all of them refer to as people, which implies that police was opposing the people. I don't support this. Whoever the defendants may be, they have their rights. Mostly policemen who were involved at the square in Zhanaozen on December 16 have been testifying at the trial. At that time, the police forces from Aktau and Shetper were concentrated in the city. Defendants testified on what was happening on the square that day. They all gave similar answers. No one knows who ordered them to open fire. According to witnesses, they heard a noise when police forces approached the local administration building. A police officer was left behind at the square in one of the yurts, and the hooligans wanted to set him on fire. Aktau policemen said that they received weapons on December 14th. Only the witness from Zhanaozen testified that Otegaliyev, the deputy head of the regional DIA, told the officers to shoot strikers in the legs to defend themselves from apparent life-threatening circumstances.
Police forces have detained the suspects in the assault of independent journalist Lukpan Akhmedyarov. According to the Interfax Kazakhstan report, the suspects are actually pupils who already confessed to the crime and said they acted on someone's instructions.
According to the victim Akhmedyarov, he called the investigators and they said the suspects were not found, yet they informed him of some progress. The journalist noted that he doesn't believe in the version of some pupils from the region who agreed to commit the murder because of bad grades. Lukpan Akhmedyarov says he's afraid that now 15-year-olds could end up on trial. The journalist believes law enforcement officials could do anything to receive confessions and close the case. I still have many questions. Should the police resolve their business in the good old way? I will be the first one to protest against it. This isn't right. In order to solve the case, it needs to be done the right way.
In the meantime, Lukpan Akhmedyarov has been discharged from the hospital. On April 19th, he was brutally assaulted next to his home, sustaining numerous stab and gunshot wounds. In total, the reporter had to spend over 2 weeks in the hospital. Yesterday, Akhmedyarov gave an interview to our channel.
Many are wondering whether I've changed my political views, and the answer is no, not at all. In general, I have realized one thing: I need to spend a little more time with my family. Of course, this was a crime and I wouldn't wish anyone to experience what I went through. However, there are just as many positive consequences as there are negative. First of all, I've realized how many people supported and approved of what we're doing. Secondly, I saw that this has affected this stagnated system. Now these people understand that they cannot get away with this.
Health condition of the well-known artist Kanat Ibragimov, as well as activists Bakhidjan Turigozhin and Larisa Boyar, arrested for the organization of the recent dissenters rally in Almaty, is fine. This information was given to reporters by representatives of the city detention facility. A few days ago, Ibragimov's supporters claimed the artist is being seriously pressured by the investigation authorities and even subjected to forced psychiatric evaluation.
The ambulance came today, but everything was good and they left. It checked the condition of Kanat Ibragimov. The medical attendant called the ambulance for the regular daily checkup. Larisa Boyar and Bakhid Turigozhin are feeling fine as well. In the meantime, on Tuesday, more than 10 members of initiative groups picketed the administration court in Almaty. They tried to draw public attention to the fate of 3 activists arrested for organizing the April dissenters rally. Bakhidjan Turigozhin, Larisa Boyar and Kanat Ibragimov have been detained for already 11 days in a specialized temporary detention facility. Its staff makes it difficult to pass anything to the detained, including water for Kanat Ibragimov. The activists' colleagues are outraged that the judge didn't consider the fact that Larisa Boyar, the activist of Leave People's Homes Alone movement, has a young daughter at home. On Monday, I was told that no transfers will be accepted as they are on a stepped-up security due to holidays. Thus, from 7th through 10th, they will not pass anything to the detained people. I want to see a rule of law which allows this.
The Almaty City Internal Affairs Department accepted Kanat Ibragimov's statement about police brutality he was subjected to during his arrest on April 28. According to the lawyer, the police will have to instigate a service investigation of the incident. Ibragimov's defender managed to meet his client on Tuesday and revealed that the artist has cancelled the previously announced hunger strike.
We've only discussed issues related to my responsibilities and professional activities, and regarding his appeal to the court, he informed me that he will give an interview about his experience and future plans upon his release on May 13th.
Opposition protest actions, which began before Vladimir Putin's inauguration, are still ongoing in Moscow. On Tuesday, activists Alexei Navalny and Sergei Udaltsov, who were recently fined for their participation in protests, have gathered a crowd not far from the Kazakh philosopher Abay Kunanbayev's monument.
Spontaneous protest actions have been ongoing in Moscow for over 30 hours now, starting on May 7th, the day of the president's inauguration. I came in the morning to join the protests No Thieves in Kremlin. A lot of people were arrested when it started, so many moved to the Pushkin Square. Protesters were arrested there as well, although people were later quickly released. Then we went to the Chistые prudy. This is already the 4th location, and now the slogan is "Spoil Putin's celebration." In response to mass detentions, protesters have chosen to use the guerrilla protest tactics, where small groups of people move from place to place to avoid detention. The situation doesn't change for already 2 days. Journalists and bloggers have joined the protesters. They are covering the events live 24/7 despite regular detentions and frequent document checks. The protest at the Kitay-Gorod metro station, only half a kilometer from the Kremlin, lasted the longest. Vera Kichanova, a Moscow State University journalism student and a member of the municipal council, became known all over Russia for her civic activity. Several months ago, she was the student who tried to break through to Medvedev's press conference at Moscow State University to ask the president uncomfortable questions. We have no specific plan of action at the moment. We're just peacefully protesting against everything taking place in the last 2 days, against detentions. Nevertheless, said detentions and dispersing of protesters continues. The quiet has not lasted long. Opposition leaders Udaltsov and Navalny came to the square. Yesterday they were detained by the police but quickly released after paying fines. Now they see about 1,000 people gathered for rally. They include notable politicians and journalists. We are here to protest rigged elections. You are saying that everyone is stealing something, but we don't want to live in a country where everyone is a thief or a crook. The thieves feel very comfortable in this environment, but this is not the way it should be. It should not be this hopeless. There is much less theft in Georgia or Finland, so why is there so much stealing in Leningrad region or here? Am I and my children are doomed to live in a country where everyone is a thief? No, I don't think so. I and everyone here believe that we are not doomed. There are many of us here right now, but we have chosen to be active and change something. Early on Tuesday morning, the tent camp near the Kitay-Gorod metro station was dispersed by the police. According to the unofficial estimates, about 100 activists were arrested, including Navalny and Udaltsov. However, the protests still continue and the tactic has not been changed. The tent camp has moved again, this time to the metro station Chistые prudy, not far from the monument to Abay Kunanbayev, who is often referred to by the Kazakhstan's opposition. It is still unclear for how long the protests in Moscow will last.
Observers in Kazakhstan continue debating benefits and shortcomings of integration within the Eurasian and customs unions. Some of the country's leading economy experts say this is not the best way for the state to develop.
Can independence be traded for the benefits of integration? Opponents of the customs and Eurasian unions have publicly stated their arguments to the authorities in an open appeal. Mukhtar Tayjan, who came up with the letter, is concerned that entering the EEC and WTO can jeopardize the sovereignty of Kazakhstan.
Экономическое пространство мы вступили тем уже, что передали в Евразийскую комиссию, которая теперь насчитывает 1200 человек с 1 января.
We have entered unified economic space by transferring our sovereignty on leading economic and also internal economic politics to Eurasian Commission, which already employs 1,200 people as of January 1st, and 84 of whom are the citizens of the Russian Federation. This now implies common rates policy as well as overall standard, macroeconomic, fiscal policies and budget deficits. Now we will have to coordinate the prices for major exports, which make up the main budget revenues.
То есть на основную доходную часть бюджета.
The integration processes of Kazakhstan with Russia and other CIS countries are often seen as an attempt to return to the Soviet Union model. Such an endeavor should have normally been welcomed by Communist Gaziz Aldamzharov, but he doesn't approve the fact that when making such an important decision, the country authorities do not call up a referendum to involve the population in the process. And now, after joining the customs union, citizens' dissatisfaction is increasing as the prices in Kazakhstan are as high as in Russia, while the minimum subsistence rate are about 3 times lower.
Если я просто обыватель, который не занимается проблемами экономики, я тоже был бы сегодня против. Смотрите.
As an ordinary citizen without a deep knowledge of economy, I still would oppose it. Just look what they say to us, like the gasoline price would be cheaper. However, once we entered the customs union, the prices became as high as in Russia and really impacted people's budgets. Now the customs duties increased by 10-15% compared to goods imported from China, which would make only 5% with all duties included. So who lost again? Of course, we did, ordinary citizens. Doctor of Political Science Sayin Borbasov, having read the letter of the integration opponents, made his counter-arguments right away. He sees certain positive trends about being part of the customs and Eurasian unions. He said the demand for commodities exported by Kazakhstan will increase and businesses will expand markets.
Таможенное пространство уже трансформируется в единое экономическое пространство.
Customs union territory is already transforming into a unified economic space. It will result in goods from our country entering member states without any taxes or administrative obstacles. Such opportunity must stimulate the economic growth. Signed by 7 people, the anti-integration letter was copied and sent out through several social networks calling for people to join the campaign. It's not clear yet whether officials or influential people may respond to it. However, Mukhtar Tayjan claims it may be too late tomorrow if the action is not taken today.
Residents of an apartment block in Almaty are fighting against a member of the local council, Viktor Bolekbayev, who is attempting to build an illegal shopping area in the neighborhood.
We will not give up the land. Residents of apartment block number 510 of the Bokikhanov Street are against the privatization of this land plot next to the flea market. When the new shopping center is built there, the only road leading to the building will be closed, the residents complain. About 50 families live in that house. If they block this place with construction, we will not be able to go through. Bigigul Bilimbayeva, who claims to be the owner of the 1.5 hectares land plot, came to the residents' protest together with the bodyguards. The woman produced some papers and said no one is going to block the road. The place will be improved in general, and people's outrage is unjustified. They are parking their cars here, and that's why they are complaining now. No one is going to build a bazaar here. On the contrary, the place will be improved. The protesters didn't agree with the visitor. Moreover, they say that the land belongs not to Bigimbayeva, but is registered with the daughter of the Bostandyk district administration deputy Viktor Bolekbayev. He also came to meet with the residents, but used obscene language and even physical force, they say. Bolekbayev came here, yelled at us and told us to leave. He pulled arms and pushed us around. Obviously, he forgot that he had been elected by the people. The tension at the spontaneous protest rose after residents displayed a poster with the slogan, "We will not give land to Deputy Bolekbayev." This prompted the security to take action. Residents of building number 510 are not the only ones who protest privatization of the land on the Bokikhanov Street. Local entrepreneurs support them as well because the road is shared by everyone. Businessmen have already sued the landowner and even won the case. The Supreme Court decided that the land must remain in public ownership. There are buildings of several business companies here, so we sued them, because this plot is right in the middle and the construction may block both roads that we use. By the Supreme Court decision, the resolution of the Jetusi district administration and privatization documents have been nullified. And today, the decision of the Jetusi district court, their state acts have been declared void as well. The privatization documents and resolution of the Jetesu district administration were nullified last year. However, the justice system's decision doesn't seem to be binding for those who claim to be landowners. The construction works have already started working in the location, but the protesters are firm in their intent to recall Deputy Bolekbayev's mandate.
Azbergenovs, an elderly couple from Uralsk, have won over officials in justice by protesting in front of the regional administration office. The pensioners said they were going to hunger strike until the authorities take notice of their problems.
Where is justice? Our father fell in the war. This makes us the war children. In 2007, local businessman Sankubayev built a two-story cafe next to the pensioners' home. This was done without a permission from the fire department as the building was located too close to the house of Azbergenov's family. Later, the businessman filed a lawsuit against senior citizens, requesting them to demolish a part of their house. The court agreed with Sankubayev. Ever since, pensioners have been trying to find justice. At first, the prosecutors and local administration representatives negotiated with the retired couple. However, the protesters said that they would only speak to the mayor or the head of the region. In the evening, it was revealed that Azbergenov signed an agreement with the local administration of West Kazakhstan region. According to the document, the regional authorities will pay them $5,400 and rebuild their home. In turn, the couple discontinued the hunger strike.
Stovepiping or a genuine attempt to improve the pension system. Kazakhstan's experts are still analyzing the recent information released by Kastag. The news agency, citing confidential sources, reported about the possible merger of all local pension funds under single foreign management.
The World Bank has no relation to the information about the alleged merger of pension funds under one foreign management company, said its Kazakhstan representative office spokesperson on Tuesday. As reported earlier by Kastag news agency referring to confidential source, the alleged concept supposedly comes from the World Bank Washington headquarters. People in charge of this particular issue are in Washington, D.C. right now. You are not the first journalist calling on the matter. Therefore, I have inquired the information from my colleagues, and as soon as I get any data, I will send it out to all who have contacted us for it, or I may get back to you on this personally. Stovepiping. This is how the head of the Pension Fund Association leader described the situation with the alleged reforms. This is not going to benefit Kazakhstan neither economically nor politically, says Aidar Alibayev. A foreign company cannot offer anything new in terms of managing our pension fund assets. So what can they do? Of course, take these assets, invest in Western stock exchange or foreign securities. That's all. The revenue rate is low, and that money cannot really serve the interest of our country in terms of economic benefits. Yet no refutation followed from the government officials on the matter. While they are working on the development of the new related concept, the document will be submitted to the president by August. Meanwhile, an economist Meruyert Makhmutova does not believe in the efficiency of the innovations. She explains that for the last several years, the fund has accumulated sufficient assets and the government simply is not ready to go for drastic changes in the system. Expert claims that the authorities normally do not consider the opinion of ordinary investors. I believe this issue must be part of a public discussion contrary to what we are used to. Indeed, usually they make a decision and only afterwards start thinking when it's already being implemented, which people of course are not content about. Experts agree on the opinion that the information on the new pension fund concept may be just another possibility considered by the working group, which had been criticized by the president as a response to the current system. Economists say the matter will be clarified in the near future.
A major traffic accident was reported on Tuesday in the Karaganda region. 16 people, including 3 children, were killed when a minivan crashed into a heavy-duty truck on the Almaty-Yekaterinburg highway.
On May 8th, at around 1 a.m., a 30-year-old driver from Kyrgyzstan lost control of the vehicle while driving to Karaganda on the Almaty-Yekaterinburg highway, 30 kilometers from Akjal village. The car crossed onto the oncoming lane and collided with a heavy-duty truck driven by a 35-year-old Almaty resident. There were 18 people in the minivan, including the driver. All of them were citizens of Kyrgyzstan heading to Russia for work. Only 3 people survived, including the truck driver. They were taken to the hospital in Balkhash town. It is worth noting that 2 hours before the collision, the traffic police stopped the minivan with citizens of Kyrgyzstan and issued a ticket to the driver for the overload. He said they were waiting for the second minivan and continued on. We are now investigating why the minivan crossed onto the oncoming lane and collided with a heavy-duty truck. What about technical condition? This is going to be checked as well. We'll carry out an evaluation.
70 years after his death and on the eve of the Victory Day celebrations, the family of Jumabay Bektursunov was able to retrieve and properly bury the remains of the hero. He died during the World War II defending Soviet Union against German forces under Staraya Russa in Russia.
The remains of the soldier and a medallion with engraved information on Jumabay Bektursunov were found and recovered in Novgorod region, Russia by the Kirov search team front. Kazakhstan authorities were informed regarding the find and helped locate the relatives of the soldier. Yesterday, his ashes were buried in the Lugavoye village in Kachirsky region. War veterans, local community members and family of Jumabay Bektursunov participated in the ceremony.
I
have a feeling that he wanted to be found, especially since the medallion was found with him. He must have wanted to be found so bad. He wanted his family to remember him and bury him in his motherland. He was dreaming about it because everything in this world happens for a reason.
On May 9th, Kazakhstan will mark the 67th anniversary of the Great Victory in the World War II. A little over 10,000 veterans are living in Kazakhstan, but unfortunately, most of them are now disabled. This year, local veterans will not be present at the traditional Victory Parade in Moscow, since officials failed to submit the necessary paperwork on time. Nevertheless, the true homeland defenders are not complaining and are simply happy to be remembered again.
Shapagat Albazarov keeps these photos along with his war medal. 70 years cannot erase the memories of the 90-year-old veteran who proudly wears his military medals every year. Shapagat dreams only of peace now, wishing no one should live through the horrors of the war again.
Внимание, говорит Москва. Началась Великая Отечественная война советского народа против немецко-фашистских захватчиков.
When the entire country, holding its breath, was listening to this announcement, Pijomal Albazarova was 14 years old. She saw all her family and friends off to the battlefront, and they returned back only in 1944. We often talk about patriotism, loyalty and respect. At that time, these things were already in everyone's soul. If anyone received a death notice, all the elderly would come together to console and support the family. Having finished education courses, Pijamal worked as a school teacher. After the war, she met her future husband. They have been married for 65 years, enjoying peaceful life. Many of the veterans have survived their children. Lonely or forgotten, they live in veterans' home. Today is a big celebration here with wartime songs, but most importantly, a lot of attention. These days they don't need much to be happy. Those who survived the war are not in the habit of asking for anything. They live on the government support, receiving small pensions. However, one can notice sadness in their eyes because they are remembered only on the eve of the holidays. I've lived for 84 years. All the dreams that I had have already passed or come true. Possibly, this will be the last generation to hear amazing stories about battle from real survivors. Too bad the original black and white war films have been colored for them by the film studio. Only about 10,000 Kazakhstan veterans have lived to see the 67th anniversary of the Great Victory. Unfortunately, this year they will not go to Moscow for the anniversary parade. Because of delay from the authorities, the documents have not been sent on time and veterans were not given seats at the Red Square. Shapagat Albazarov has been invited to Moscow parade several times. However, due to health reasons, the pensioner will not be able to make the trip. Grateful to be still alive is the only thought with which the veteran of the Great Patriotic War goes to bed each night.
This is all we have time for now. Congratulations on the Victory Day. We'll return on Friday. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.